Hey there, Internet, how's it going? Today I'm talking about, or at least I'm giving my first impressions on a show which that honestly, as I first started it, it seemed rather silly and rather unorthodox, but as I kind of slowly watched it, it had a very, very, very sentimental thing, which honestly kind of reminded me a lot of the people who that I call friends, which that honestly, for a few of the characters in it, it honestly kind of, or looks like each one reminds me of one of my friends and people who that I hold near and dear to me. And it's a show called Golden Time. Now, honestly, I'm going, man, to come out and say that this is a romance show, and honestly, I'm basically going to be talking about, or honestly, I'm going to be giving you the information of which that how much I've kind of stored up into my head all the way up until like episode 12. So honestly, my first impressions is going to be based off of that. So honestly, we do have our main character, Bonri, who's honestly going off to this law school, and honestly, he has a cool friend there, or honestly, this guy who that he meets there, his name is Mitsuo, and Mitsuo basically went to his school to get away from a girl in his youth who honestly was fucking stalking him and isn't necessarily leaving him alone. She's a girl called Coco, and Coco really reminds me a lot of one of my friends, all the way down to, man, the T. She's a very, very, very attractive girl who pretty much has a very, very unique dressing style. You know, can't dance to save her life, and also, man, she's very supportive and also super cool. So, you know, there's also that. However, as it started off with Mitsuo and Bonri and Coco, the first few episodes kind of give you a small little opening of what is going on, you know, such as, like, you know, again, with the whole thing of Mitsuo and Coco, and then there's the whole thing of Coco slowly moving on to Bonri, you know, kind of like latching on to his friendship, because seriously, she doesn't have any friends. So, you know, brand new college place, man, away from home. And, you know, Mitsuo, he's making brand new friends with a girl called Chinami Oka, who is part of the film club, and, you know, that's kind of where he's at. And then as the episodes go on with Coco being around Bonri, it kind of naturally slips out that Bonri actually has amnesia. You know, I know that is nothing kind of like all that new. However, with his amnesia, which that they kind of don't play it up as like a gigantic thing. It's kind of just something in which that just happened, and like that he lost his memories, and, you know, just out there, and, you know, it kind of has a very human thing of going back talking about how basically, even though he does have amnesia and really now he doesn't really know anything about, man, from his past life, he kind of had to move away because of it, because most of his old friends and family are kind of just, they kind of want him to be just like how he used to be. However, he can't do it, so he had to fucking move. And as that goes on with his friendship with Coco, and Coco, she basically, early on, that's all she ever talks about, is fucking Mitsuo. And, you know, as they're slowly becoming Bonri's friend, after a while, he says, I can't fucking do this anymore, because basically, you know, you know, I like you and everything, but, you know, you don't want to do anything but just use me. So he's kind of just fucking leaves. And seriously, that is one of the major things in which that I do kind of like, because it makes the characters feel way more normal. And that's something which kind of makes Coco just cut all of the bullshit, and, you know, there's the whole thing with that. However, in between all of this, She did honestly kind of have a few things going on with Mitsuo, in which that Mitsuo's thing was the fact of he actually started liking Shinami, and there was a whole thing with that of her being jealous of him liking her, and all this other shit. And then in between that, we do have a intercut thing with like one of which that honestly it kind of just fell out. It was the whole thing of Banri's friend Linda, who was one of his old girlfriends from back in the past, or at least not necessarily one of his girlfriends. They were really, really, really close, and honestly, she didn't want man to fucking tell him. And as soon as he finds out, he acts just like a normal guy would, or at least I would assume with amnesia, is that he fucking runs away and just doesn't want man to talk to her anymore. Honestly, what I'm saying is that this show has a very, very, very good track record with actually making you feel something for all of these characters, and making all these moments, which are funny and sad and everything, they make them feel actually natural. However, one of the bigger major plot points that has been going on recently is the thing of that Banri, a bit somewhere in him, he fucking still loves Linda. However, in a few of the flashbacks, it kind of paints it as that Linda, she also loved him as well. However, with him losing his memory now and him dating Coco, she isn't necessarily just coming out and fucking telling him that, or honestly, she's trying, man, to do, man, the opposite and say like, man, she only liked him as like a classmate and shit. So there's always that, especially since that there was the moment in which that man, he caught her saying that she didn't care anything for him, and Banri basically just cut ties with her until, man, she had to like track his ass down and fucking tell him, it's like, yeah, man, it's the opposite of what I said. I really, really, really like you, or basically love you. So there's also that. And, from where this episode, or at least like from the two episodes that I just recently watched, which was episodes 11 and 12, 11 and 12 honestly kind of paint to me what an actual relationship, or at least like an actual relationship between two people who that honestly I don't want to see break up. I mean, honestly, I know that there's a whole thing, man, with him and Linda. I know that there's a whole thing, man, between Coco and Mitsuo, or her honestly seriously trying, man, to make it work with Banri, but at the end of the day, normally if I watch an anime or TV show or whatever, and they say these two people, they have been together for so long and they're about to break up, after a while, I kind of just butt out and be like, I really don't care, well, I don't really care whether they're together or not. Whereas in this show, which does kind of give you the whole thing of actually seeing them when they weren't friends, to them becoming friends, to them about to fall out, to them actually dating and trying and making mistakes, and actually still, man, basically making it work. At the end of episode 12, with him getting a job and him having a moment with Linda again, and then honestly, him and how Coco was basically, man, like was basically searching the fucking streets, basically trying, man, to find him, because recently he was sick, and then he had this whole moment. But then it's like the whole thing of like him actually apologizing to her and basically telling her everything in which that he didn't want her to know. I mean, seriously, it is something in which that I really fucking like, and I really like this show. Just to clarify, I mean, like, look, I kind of talked about Coco a lot because she does remind me of one of my friends who that I do like a lot. However, the other two characters, or at least like most of the other characters who that I do talk about, they also remind me of a lot of people, such as Mitsuo reminds me of my co-author reminds me of my co-author because he's just that kind of shitbird. However, he doesn't dye his hair, so there's always that. And Shinami, she basically does honestly remind me of, man, the girl who that I was talking about, reminds me of Coco's friend. She does honestly remind me of her. Linda, it's kind of hard to say, man, who Linda reminds me of. But honestly, she does kind of have a innocent air about her. And I really didn't talk about Linda's friend, Nana, who honestly is a very gruff and rough girl who really doesn't like, man, to talk all that much. She kind of does her things, man, through actions. She's like a few feet taller, or you know, like a few inches taller than the other mean girl that I knows, but you know, this basically roughly the same thing. Basically, the point that I'm making is the fact that this show feels way more natural to me, because honestly, it kind of shines a bit of a light of saying that some of these characters can honestly paint a picture into some of the people you know in your lives. However, for me, it's fucking scary how some of these motherfuckers are actually like, honestly remind me of all the fucking people that I know, which is honestly fucking scary. But hey, honestly, it has no matter what, from these first 12 episodes in which that I did see, I still have 10 more to look at. This was a glorious first impression, and honestly, this show was super fucking good. And honestly, it's grown into one of my top 10 animes, especially, or at least one of my top 10 animes, which honestly can make you care about characters and everything, you know. Another one is Angel Beats, but I'm not talking about that right now. So basically, I love Golden Time. It's a super good show, and I do recommend it for people who don't who want to just take a time out and just look at like an anime which does talk about characters and everything. If you want that, check this out. If you're looking for action, this one doesn't have all that much. It's mostly just relationships and like real life shit, but it does work for what it is. And that's what I got to say about that. What do you guys think about it? If you've seen the anime, please tell me what do you think about it down there in the comment section. I will see you guys on the next John Grave show. I am out.